Hello, everybody, and a big warm welcome to the next podcast in the Menopause Lifestyle Solution. So I have with me an incredible woman who's going to talk about sex. So would you like to fire away, Lucy? Tell us a little bit about you, your business, where you're based, that kind of thing, and how you got into what you do now. I'm not going to tell everyone because I want to leave it for a surprise.
Sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Lucy. I'm a sex, intimacy, relationship coach, and I'm also a clinical sexologist. So I studied sexology, which is human sexuality and how we think and feel about it. But the study of sexology is very, very interesting. I am based in Brighton, United Kingdom, so local to anyone in Brighton. And I work usually with women one-to-one, but I also run a lot of group programs as well. I find there's a lot of healing that can happen in group experiences. I do all sorts of things. I teach all over the place. I try a list of things I don't do, but I'm very active and I'm very passionate about the work that I do, and I especially love working with women.
Great. So it kind of leads us on to really the menopause side of things. Tell us how women are affected in your experience with the menopause.
Well, they're affected in many different ways, and I want to stress that every woman is different. So for some women, they say that it's the sexiest they've ever felt, and sometimes that's to do with hormones, sometimes that's more to do with mindset, because there definitely is something to be said for the older that you get, less you care. And the more assertive you are, the more you know your body. Many women I've spoken to, the older they've gotten, the more confident they feel. But then for many women, when they hit the menopause, first of all, their hormones go completely all over the place, which often means their libido drops. Plus, their body changes quite substantially. Extra fat around the belly, and the skin starts to sag, and they really lose their confidence in their body. And you combine that with any other ongoing health conditions as well, because often as we get older, other health stuff comes in the way. Plus, maybe they've had difficult surgeries in the past. Plus, maybe they've had miscarriages or pelvic surgery or surgery on the womb that it never fully healed. There's still lingering pain there. So you add that to the effects of the menopause, it's going to have a substantial effect on their libido, on their desire for sex and intimacy. We also need to consider that, you probably talk about this a lot, that in a culture that prizes youth as beautiful, that there's a huge loss of confidence as women get older, because they think, well, society no longer sees me, I'm somehow invisible. Am I still desirable? Does my partner still desire me? Or if they're single or widowed or divorced or separated, it's, will anyone still find me attractive? Am I still able to go out there and date? Have I still got it? So there's so many things that come into play. Plus, when you have all the fun symptoms of the menopause as well, you're probably not feeling particularly sexy when you're feeling bloated and hot flushy and not very well rested, plus all the other fun things that happen. So it's completely understandable that it's going to really hit your libido and your sex life. Oh, and I used to talk about the stuff that happens with the vagina as well, but I can do that in a minute as well.
Yes, so you'll have somebody that comes to you. Give us an example. So a woman comes to you, she's feeling exhausted, she's feeling overwhelmed, her sex life has gone out the window as such, and she's feeling quite alone. How do you nurture their relationship back? Does it start with the woman and then involve the partner, or does it have to be something?
It depends, and I say it depends deliberately. It depends how they approach me. So I tend to work with women on their own to begin with, but I do work with couples as well. And sometimes I work with a man if they're in a relationship with a man, or the woman if they're in a relationship with a woman. Often I find that they come because they've lost their confidence. So one thing I check first of all is, have you had a proper health screening? So are there any other health conditions going on? Are you seeing a nutritionist? Are there certain tests that need to be done just to rule out anything else? I'm really careful that we make that everything else is ruled out before we work with this, just in case. Then we work on, first of all, your relationship with your body and defining what intimacy is and what sex is. I'm using quote marks here, especially as a huge symptom of menopause is the lack of estrogen, which means a huge thinning of the vaginal walls, which can make them more prone to tearing. Many women experience prolapse, and often they find that the external tissue on the vulva, that can change slightly as well. Plus just a lot of dryness. So intercourse, because when we think about sex, we think intercourse, which means penis and vagina. So usually the intercourse that they were used to having doesn't feel particularly fun or exciting or even nice anymore. It just feels painful. And maybe you add that, maybe they're just bored. Maybe they've been with their partner for a long time, and he or she, often he, they've lost that spark. They've lost it. They fall into a routine of this is how we do it. And for many of them, there's this feeling of despair of, is this it? Is this really my lot in life? I'm probably over the hill right now. There's not really much point. And then they also lose that confidence in their body, where it's like, well, I don't need to think of myself as sexy. I'm a mum, or I'm a grandma, or both. I don't have to wear these clothes like that. I'm sensible. And so I really want to work with what beliefs, what thoughts they're telling themselves. How do they define what is sexy? Where is their pleasure? Are they able to ask for what they want? What's their dynamic like with their partner? Are they able to communicate clearly with their partner? What is their relationship like with their body? Because we can't ignore that body image is huge. And even though we can definitely work with exercise and nutrition, that doesn't work overnight. So I really believe we have to start loving our bodies and accepting our bodies as they are right now, so that when our bodies change, we have that kind of insurance policy that we can still feel good in our bodies at any size or shape. I do a lot with the women, especially around different breath work. I use elements from Tantra. I'm not a Tantra teacher, but there are some really yummy exercises I do to circulate your sexual energy. And also just the fact of talking about it in the first place. Often, because women who are often going through the menopause, it's a different generation where they're not as used to being as comfortable talking about sexuality. So that's often the first step.
Now, that's so interesting to hear that. So how would somebody approach you? Say they were feeling shy, or they didn't know what to do. Is it usually by email, or would somebody contact you by phone? How do people get in touch?
Various different means, often just through my website, often through Facebook. I have a large Facebook group for women. I have a mailing list. So women come from lots of different places. Often they've met me somewhere else, or they've seen me teaching at a festival or speaking on a podcast, so they may add me on Facebook or join my Facebook group. Generally with women, they need to feel that they have a relationship with you first. You have to cultivate that relationship, because it's not easy admitting you have a problem with sexuality, let alone to a stranger. So you need to build that rapport with them. So I give away a lot of content for free in my Facebook group. I give away a lot in my mailing list. And then they'll approach me tentatively or not so tentatively, and then I will do an intake call with them and see if we're the right fit. And as part of the intake process, I do a full medical history, and if necessary, I refer them to other practitioners as well, especially pelvic floor physiotherapists, which is really, really needed.
So tell us a little bit about your handles on Instagram, on any events you've got coming up this year.
Awesome. Yes. So do find me on Instagram. I'm at Juice and Jasmine. I do need to change to that handle, but for now it's at Juice and Jasmine. Just find me at Lucy Rowette. I'm also very active on Facebook. Either find me on my profile, Lucy Rowette, or my page, Lucy Rowette CSC, which is Certified Sex Coach, because I am a Certified Sex Coach. Also, do join my Facebook group, The Intimately Empowered Woman, and do sign up to my mailing list. I have a free Ultimate Guide to Pleasure resources, which I'd love to give you. And starting mid-July, I have an awesome program for women called The Shameless Woman, which is a 12-week group alchemical container experience to go deep into the layers of shame that we carry around our pleasure and eroticism and transforming them. So I'm really, really excited. If this sounds really exciting for you, then do get in touch with me.
Lucy, that's fantastic. I love the sound of the 12-week program. That sounds as though you're kind of opening up all your fears. Is that right? Or all your preconceived ideas of...
Well, whenever I work with a client, I'm not just telling them how to have good sex. I'm not just telling them positions or, I'm uncovering all the beliefs, all of the conditioning. I'm working with their relationship with desire, with their bodies, breath, with pleasure. Talking and working with sexuality isn't a one-stop shop. And it isn't just about how to have a G-spot orgasm or how to do a safe and fun anal play, for example. There's so much more, and it's so much deeper than that. And often it comes to unpicking the many layers of shame that have been given to us over the years from our conditioning, from the culture we grew up in, plus usually living in a society that doesn't prioritize female sexuality or even talk about vulvas that much. So we have to go quite deep into this, and we have to really work with the body. I use a lot of embodiment techniques, because it's not just enough to talk about it. It's not enough to cognitively know something. We have to work with the body as well. although a lot of it is pleasure-infused sex education that we never received too.
That was really helpful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Today. And I wish you all the best for the future. No doubt we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you.